Imagine you're the mother of an 8-year-old girl who walks a few blocks to school every morning. She always remembers not to talk to strangers, to only walk in crosswalks, and only walk on the sidewalks, just as you taught her. But this morning was different. While crossing the road, a distracted driver sped right through the crosswalk without ever looking up. The driver was texting. The chances of the content in that text message being more important than the daughter's life is very unlikely. As said by Sarah Zorbach from the Journal of American Academy of Physicians Assistants in 2007, drivers who use their cell phones while driving have been compared to driving with a blood alcohol content level higher than the legal drinking and driving limit. It is important for everyone, especially young adults like us, to realize the risks involved in cell phone use while driving to be sure that not only you but also everyone around you is safe. Because the use of cell phones, especially text messaging, is a fairly new technology, it is fair to say that it is most often used by people around close to my age group. According to the article, Adults Tie Teens in Texting, in the ages of 18 to 33-year-olds, 59% of drivers have admitted to texting while driving. Compared to in the age group of 46 to 64-year-olds, only 29% of them have admitted to texting while driving. This is a significant difference. Today I'm going to discuss with you why cell phone use while driving is dangerous, what federal and state laws are doing to stop this, and what we can do as citizens to end this risky behavior. Most teenagers who text while they're driving assume that it is just fine for them to take their eyes off the road and quickly answer that text message. They don't realize exactly how cell phone use while driving is dangerous. It is obvious that the most basic reason that texting while driving is dangerous and why it is risky is because the driver must take their eyes off the road for multiple seconds to read that message. Although teenagers argue that they are very experienced in texting and rarely even have to take their eyes off the road and can text without looking down, but a Virginia Tech study found that drivers who take their eyes off the road to read a text message look down for approximately 5 seconds each time. This may seem like a relatively short amount of time, but it is just enough time for that driver to be distracted enough to cause an accident. Now concerning making a phone call while driving, which is also a very dangerous distraction. A study done by the University of Utah by David Strayer and Frank Ruth, a cell phone conversation disrupts performance by diverting attention from the external environment associated with the driving task to engage in the conversation that they're having. In other words, making a phone call while driving takes the driver's attention off the road where it should be, and they focus their attention on the conversation they're having on the phone. If the dangers of using a phone to text or call someone while driving isn't obvious enough, here are 2 facts from the article Texting While Driving is Dangerous by Tricia Mills. 1. Texting while driving creates a distraction for the driver and can cause an accident 23 times more likely than if that driver wasn't texting. And 2. An estimated 30% of all car accidents are caused because of drivers who are texting or calling on their phones. Now, what is the federal and state government doing to end this risky behavior? According to the article, cell phones and texting laws updated in November 2010, 30 U.S. states have now completely banned texting while driving so far. Although no states have completely banned the use of cell phones, many states have laws in place that ban under 18-year-olds from using their cell phones at all. Furthermore, the article states that many states have added a category for cell phone use and electronic equipment use as a category on police accident reports. Federal legislation proposed that states are required to collect this information if they want to get certain federal funding. Collecting this information will help people get an idea of exactly why texting while driving is bad, because it will show exact amounts of accidents that were caused by it and demonstrate the consequences. Not surprisingly, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety also states that There are many states that have laws against bus drivers or other public transportation drivers from using their phones at all while driving. Now, what can citizens do to help stop this behavior? To begin with, everyone should weigh out the pros and cons and realize that sending that text message or answering that phone call can just simply wait. The dangers of getting into an accident are much higher than the benefits of using your phone. Drivers should only use their phones in absolute emergencies. It may even be helpful to turn off your cell phone so you are not tempted to read that message or even see who you're calling. If you think that phone call or text message cannot be unanswered, it is smart to pull over on the side of the road to answer it. The Progressive Auto Insurance Company suggests the following safety tips while driving to make it safer. Okay, do not have a stressful or emotional conversation while driving that may be extra distracting and dangerous. And it is especially important not to use your phone during hazardous weather conditions such as rain, sleet, snow, or ice. I understand that in some situations, for instance if you got stranded in a snowstorm, having a cell phone would be a huge help and very beneficial. But in most cases, when you're not in danger, the cell phone call or text can just simply wait until you arrive at your destination. Today I explained why texting while driving is dangerous, what laws have been put in action to stop it, and what we can do as citizens to stop this trend and ensure our safety. The statistics don't lie. There is never a safe time to use your phone on the road. It is not worth the consequences and is hazardous to everyone. As I mentioned before, cell phones can be very beneficial and save lives, but should only be used when appropriate. Recall the anecdote that I explained in the beginning of this presentation and ask yourself, is answering that text message while on the road really more important than your life or the lives of others around you? It can wait.